Faster.
Yeah, it's the Wiz Buffy podcast. We're built for comfort
and not for speed, you old making old nasty food. You ain't washed your hands. You let the dog lick your hand. Disgusting bitch.
The dog
Yo.
or
Yes, both of them. The dog is disgusting. The cook is actually no fuck that. The dog doing what they're supposed to do. The cook is nasty. Why don't y'all leave them animals out y'all kitchen?
Yeah, I
That's
would
nasty,
agree.
man. I hate that, man.
Not only out, then even if you allow them in your kitchen, they should not traverse the terrain. Like, don't climb up on nothing.
especially no. You're cooking. You don't want like cats running around.
Because everybody seen recently that some cat was on the top and then she just put the paw in the goddamn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The lady, I saw the one lady.
Your pussy out the food.
Yeah. I seen the one lady, she's cooking and she's like putting all this crap in the pan and she lets the dog lick her hand. Goes back to the pan. It's like nasty. I'll tell you a story, man. And I don't do potlucks. But this girl used to make these whoopie pies at work. Oh, they were so fucking delicious. And then this girl, my homegirl, come over there like, don't you eat that shit. And I'm like, why not? It's delicious. So she whisks me over to this other girl's desk and is like, look at that picture. What do you see? I'm like, she's cooking. What do you see in the picture? Oh, her cat is like literally by her pot. So yeah, from that, I know whoopie pies. Yeah, man, so, a good thing.
What is
a whoopie pie?
Yes.
Whoopie pies are delicious.
It's like I guess it's just like a chocolate cake and with fucking cream in the middle, though. Like
it's you know what the easiest way to it? You know those Oreo cakesters?
Sounds great. I'm sorry?
You know those Oreo cakesters? It's like that, but like homemade and like bigger.
Yeah. It's almost big as an oatmeal cream pie for real.
Don't get your pussy in the whoopie pie.
Don't put your pussy in the whoopie pie, yo. Cream pie and oh god.
The return of Warp Zone, yo.
Ouch here. Yo, I got a new computer. Can you tell?
Yes.
This motherfucking 720p is amazing.
Yeah, isn't it great when you get a new laptop? And isn't it great when you get a new laptop and you're like, oh wow, why didn't I do this years ago?
Yo, it moves faster. Like I thought it was the internet. It's not the internet. It was the computer. The computer was crashing. All the hard drive was crashing. So hey, if you make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, you'll see a better picture of Fat Boy Diz, and I probably sound better too. Like I don't sound like I'm in a cave. So
yo, we just did an episode of something else, and I'm having the same problem where I run out of space on my computer, and so things are getting choppy. So it feels like it's the Wi-Fi, and I can't really let out the bag who the interview was with.
Yeah,
but it was somebody fairly big deal. You mean if y'all tune into this coming week's episode of something else with actually we interviewed Cal that's coming up this week, and it's pretty good. But at the end of that, you'll see we got a little special teaser we'll put at the end of the episode for the folks who you know what I mean, to kind of tease the episode. It's a cool guest. But so we're sitting there, and at the beginning, right before we're recording, it gets choppy like that, and of course I'm assuming, you know, Lil Fam is upstairs on the on Call of Duty or something. He was, so we call him, and the guest was like, "Hey, look, man, you get off the game and read a book." And,
and is it somebody that he like rocks with?
He was. I'll say it to you like this: he definitely called a few friends and was like, "Yo, I just talked to XYZ." So cool. That was because he doesn't really even watch wrestling anymore. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he know who some of the folks is, like, but like he's not a watcher. That being said, though, I am IlFam790, a social media choice, aka the Anderson of the podcast, and aka Captain Brew Albano, Brew Diamond Phillips, Thicky the Dragon, Steamboat, Pod Sham Pod, God's favorite podcaster, Potty Pipe. I'm here to podcast Chew Bubblegum, and I'm all out of Dentine. Nice to see your love daddy of WFAM, where family always matters, and that's the double truth Ruth, and my tag team partner.
It's your boy Fat Boy Diz, aka Dizzy from B More, aka Diz DiGiorno, the most finger wavers. You can see the bitches. It's not DiGiorno, it's the penis. Johnny Cochran, if the gloves don't fit, I will not hit. I'm not a normal nigga. I smoke cigars. I use rubbers. And but sometimes I do like to go Google Willow Ryder and see what she's doing from time to time. And to my spades left.
I don't have a big intro. That's I'm just Vin. You may know me from Wrassle Rap and Oddball. Those are two podcasts that I do. Wrassle Rap is self-explanatory. I do that for Emilio Sparks. That's wrestling. Oddball is more sports-based, which I'm assuming that's why I'm here. And this is my sports machine behind me.
Did George Michaels leave that to you in his will?
He died and he left it to me. And
I don't want George Michael.
I inherited it.
Not that George Michael.
No, not that George Michael.
Either one, nigga. They both dead, ain't they?
They are both dead.
And the other one, don't want him to give me anything.
No, I said I specifically said left it for him in his will.
But yeah, that is if you lived on the East Coast or in the Baltimore, D.C. area or New York, or I'm sure in other places, that is the George Michael sports machine behind me.
That's how George Michael, he definitely gave us all the highlights of
literally
everything, nigga.
Yeah, listen, that's one of the guys, like maybe one of the 3 or 4 guys that, like, when I think sportscaster in general, it was him. You know, I don't know how far the signal came up the road, but did you guys get Channel 4 when you grew up? This
I don't know. I don't know if I know what that is.
Channel 4, the DC stations. Did you guys get DC stations?
No.
Okay. We get DC and Baltimore stations here. So like, it was like Mark Viviano. Really, it was Mark Viviano and goddamn George Michael. Like, those are the sports guys that I remember. What's the Keith Mills, maybe?
The Keith Pills. You didn't hear about that? Matter of fact, he was
broke in the lady house. He broke in the lady house.
Pasadena, right? That was on Adam on the Camino, Severna Park, somewhere where rich people are. Yeah.
But yeah, like him, and then was it Keith? What's the guy from 45? Bruce Cunningham.
That's a sports newscaster name if I've ever heard one.
Oh, it is. He actually is the Ravens. What you call it in the stadium? The first down Ravens.
He's a PA.
Yes.
Okay,
I didn't know that.
Yes. First down Ravens. First and 10.
Did you want to talk playoffs?
Let's fucking talk playoffs, yo. Let me ask y'all a question. Is the playoffs going as predicted?
I picked every game this weekend.
I think it's going as predicted.
Correct.
Okay. But y'all thought that the Chargers, the Chargers, the Ravens, you know what I mean? Like that shit, even the fucking Dolphins, I was like, these motherfuckers, it might be like all upsets.
Dolphins winning with a goddamn 8th-string quarterback.
Right. Which shows me chinks in the Bills' armor.
Yeah, I feel like we got to update that term.
No, okay. Oh, that's not what that means.
It's a goddamn joke, fam. It's a joke.
Yes.
It's kink in armor. There's a kink in the armor.
Well, that could be a whole other thing, though.
Okay. But that's not.
Now you're talking.
Hey, man. Now you're talking is amazing. You know what? I watched. What's the kid with the long hair from Jaguars? He beat us.
Trevor Lawrence.
Listen.
The prince who was promised. Yeah.
That team, I believe, way more than I believe them Chargers.
Yeah.
So I mean, nothing this week other than like the games being comebacks. But like any of the outcomes, none of them surprised me.
I actually kind of thought I wouldn't have bet it, and I wouldn't say it out loud, but I had a feeling that the Ravens were going to win. Of course, I was wrong, but it's like, the Ravens are going to win. This guy just got a feeling. It's just something about playing a division rival 3 times in the same year. We've beaten them before. We played them, we played them pretty. The defense played lights out the week before. I just thought we was going to win.
You guys didn't play. You guys were a half inch from winning that game, or at least tying it in that last play.
No, we would have went up. It was 17-17. It was a 14-point swing. Instead of us going up 24-17, they went up 24-17.
But
well, now the big thing,
that last pass that went right over Buddy fingertips.
Oh yeah, pro shit.
Wow. Yeah, that would have tied the game.
Yeah, that would have tied it.
But it didn't, so you gotta deal with it. But the Giants here in New York, now people are getting it in their head because the Giants have that reputation. No, but now people are getting it in their head because of the past 2 times they made playoff runs. It led to them going to the Super Bowl in years where people didn't expect them to go to the Super Bowl. Do you think this Giants team can actually go to the Super Bowl with Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll? The way Daniel Jones has been playing the past couple games, I wouldn't put it past him.
Daniel Jones has played very well all season. This is, you know how like ESPN will put something in folks' heads, or just past years will, like, we've seen him play this year. This guy is the same guy. And from watching him I believe we played them week 2, week 3, Daniel Jones has been playing amazing football all season.
He's been rock solid, but sometimes rock solid's not good enough for people. Even though rock solid means that you're hitting all your receivers and you're making great run plays. Like, he's what they need him to be. And when any position, but especially quarterback, if you can hit that mark, you're good. Like I'm sure we're going to talk about Tom Brady in a bit for other reasons, but Tom Brady was never the best quarterback in the league. There was always someone that they were saying was like a little bit better than him. Obviously, he was always in the mix, but he's always good enough.
Right.
And like a floor general when he gets out there, and a professional that
but we're not comparing DJ to Tom Brady, are we?
No. I think the sentiment is that he could be whatever that team needs at that point in time. And he did what I think that's what Vin was saying, if I'm correct, is Vin was saying there were quite a few years where Tom wasn't, Tom can't move outside the pocket, but Tom is who he is for that team.
Yeah, Tom's what the Patriots needed him to be to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what it's like with Daniel Jones right now. Like, he's not, you could probably look at him and go, like, there was something that came out this week where people were saying, he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now, which I would agree with. But there's a lot of people right now that are like, no, absolutely not. No way Daniel Jones can be a top 10 quarterback in this league. And it's like, but he's one of the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that are left? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that lead credence to he's at least a top 8 quarterback right now? I mean, you want to make that argument?
No.
I know, but I'm just. I know that's a very flawed argument.
It could be the basis of an argument.
That. That's what I'm saying.
It could be a basis of a logically phallic argument. You know what I'm saying?
Logically phallic.
Logically phallic is insane. Let me say this:
it's a logical fallacy.
All Daniel Jones is right now is he's not turning the ball over. Mm-hmm. He's not turning the ball over. They're keeping time of possession, and that has been Super Bowl winning recipes for the last 20 years. Like, you can pass the ball all the fuck you want, but even Peyton Manning was like, you know what? Let me hand this rock off. Mm-hmm. And so you can run the ball, you don't turn the ball over, you play good defense. Those are all recipes. I don't think that means that Jones is top of anything, but I think he can be this year's Brad Johnson or Trent Dilfer. I think he definitely could.
Yeah, listen. First of all, I'd like to stand on a soapbox really quick because I had to listen to this mess for so long. This NFC least crap. The best division in football, hands down. Can you argue against it?
I can make plenty of arguments against it.
I'm listening.
You play each other for one, and then you play a weak ass conference. How about that? The AFC hands down is the best conference, and so those teams have to play each other. You got weak schedules. Yeah, no, I don't like that bullshit.
So first, the AFC.
The Eagles are legit.
The AFC. Who is their best win? The Eagles.
Who?
The Eagles. Who is the Eagles' best win this season?
I don't know the schedule. Don't do that.
Then how can you say the Eagles are legit?
Come on, dog. I don't know that. I don't know that.
You say
expecting them to come out with statistics and be ready with
Jalen Hurts in the red zone. I don't know all that shit, man. Golly, I know that the quarterback is a killer. So
listen. We play each other 6 times during the season, right? That's 6 games out of 17.
Right.
Then you play you play an AFC conference and an NFC conference. Then you play folks that finish the same play. Everybody
what
really.
What conference did y'all play? Did y'all play the AFC South?
Did we? I hope so.
I would probably say, like, people were giving props. Who was it? The Cowboys, but they beat like the last 6 wins were like against trash teams. Like, I mean, even the Ravens had an easy schedule. Let's keep it real. The Ravens had a trashy, easy schedule.
I think there were between 4 and 6 teams that have legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. Like, and this is maybe starting 6 to 8 weeks ago. You say AFC, you say Bills, you say Kansas City, you say Cincinnati. In the NFC, you say San Francisco, you say Philadelphia, and you say Dallas. Those are the 6 teams that most people had toward the top.
Okay.
And all those teams are still there, right?
Right.
All those teams are still there. If you were picking the AFC, NFC championship games, who are you guys picking?
The championship games?
What? Not who's going to be left.
I gotta see this bracket because I don't.
So
I don't
this week,
it's the Eagles and the Giants, and Dallas and San Francisco, Kansas City and Jacksonville, Cincinnati and Buffalo. I'm gonna go Jacksonville, Buffalo, and I'm gonna go Giants, Cowboys.
Wow, Vegas big high. It's definitely gonna be Kansas City. You gotta stop that shit, man. Kansas City, Buffalo.
Listen, you gotta make a bold prediction. You can't just sit and go where the wind is blowing. I think it would be nice if Trevor Lawrence, he's coming into his own right now, makes a big statement. Jacksonville comes out of nowhere. They get a big win.
I've seen them play. Kansas City, Buffalo, San Fran, and Philly. That's what I got.
So the funny part about those games. So
let me drink. Give you picks.
I'm about to.
Okay.
Vin, if you get your wish, right, or your picks, if it's New York, Dallas gets another home game. I would love that. However, I don't think that is going to happen. I'll pick us, and I wouldn't take the points. I think the points are like 4, but I would take us. And I think that's going to be the most evenly matched game of the week. I like New York. I really like New York, and I think that one I'm not. I think New York is playing really good ball. I think Jalen Hurts is still hurt, and I didn't see anything from watching Philly this season to make me think that the way they're playing now, or the way that they're playing now, is the way you don't want to run into a hot team the way they playing now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Giants are hot at the exact right time.
Correct. And this isn't the first time they've been hot at the right time. But yeah, the other side, I like the favorites. The other sides, I like Kansas City. I like Buffalo. Just they've been there. You know what I'm saying? They put on one of the best games in the last 10 years last year, man. I can't wait to see that rematch.
And the Bengals line, man, is atrocious. So yeah, that's definitely. I think Buffalo is definitely going to run whatever that word is over top of them.
Roughshod.
You're a roughshod.
I'm not an Englishman.
Yo, roughshod sounds like a cool G.I. Joe. Like he come in like the 3rd season. You know what I'm saying? His specialty is he's a sniper.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And then where's he from? Because all G.I. Joes have a nationality and shit.
Roughshod is a Black American. He's from San Francisco. He wears a 49er jersey and a headband every week.
Okay. I'm with that.
But he ties it in a knot because he's from San Francisco.
His jersey.
He's an all-pro. He's an all-pro running back by day, and then in the cover of night, he's roughshod.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Ready for action. Like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be dope. It'd be dope. I hated the generic voices from those cartoons, right? Because like
roll out.
We would know, like, we know that Uncle Phil, you know what I'm saying, was the Uncle Phil and the grandfather from the Cosby Show were the two black dudes in everything in the 80s, right?
In the 80s, yes.
Like right now, Phil Lamar is every black dude.
And there's a guy named Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yes.
That does sound
when you've heard his voice, you can be like, oh.
Yeah. He's all over the place.
He's everywhere, bro.
He played a version of the Joker.
He
did a lot of like Cartoon Network cartoons. Like he does a lot.
Yeah. I heard that Luke Skywalker said he's not doing Joker anymore because his Batman
Kevin Conroy died. Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
So they got to move on from those guys anyway, even if he didn't die. Like there is certain, like, as much as I love those two portrayals of those characters, like they are to a lot of people like the definitive versions of Batman and the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
As a company, you need to move on from that at a certain point because you need to make that break. Because if you don't make that break, then you get what's going to happen now, which is it's going to take even longer to get a new voice established because now you have multiple generations that are like, well, this was my Batman and Joker, so like I don't accept this new thing. It's like I always go back to using the example of when Saturday Night Live first came out. First 5 years, everyone loves that cast, iconic. Then 1980 comes around, they all leave, they replace them with new people, and it fails. But what doesn't fail is when they kept it going, and a couple years later, it's like, well, we kept it going, and now we've got Eddie Murphy, we've got, Joe Piscopo, we've got all these people who've come in, and it's like, whoever comes immediately after the first popular thing is always the fall guy.
Exactly. Now, not to don't want to get too far off on a tangent as far as like, I could get into that DC comic and all that shit.
Let's do it.
Oh shit! No, let's keep it with sports. All right, so let's think about it like this. So we were talking about like what comes next, right? So let's talk about Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson because I think that you have the superstar of the league and the guy that I think will be superstar of the league. So Tom Brady, do you think he calls it quits? What do you think
No, he's coming back. He can't give up football. He ruined his marriage over it. He's not done. He doesn't want to go out like a bitch. And this season, he went out like a bitch. Like that's just how it goes. Like the ploy would have been the best move would have been you win that championship with the Buccaneers, and then you fade out gracefully, and you're like, I did it. I told everyone I could leave the Patriots and do it on my own on a different team with the right system. I brought in Gronk. I had everything going for me. We did it, and I'm just gonna like hang up my hat there. Like it would have been a perfect. But that's the thing about people with these big egos that when you get to a certain point, they can't say no. Like him, Jordan. Like Jordan couldn't say no. Like he had to go back to the Wizards to prove something. And was he a great player? Yeah, but still, like you see it in the media all the time. Like how many people have like a show on TV and then like, okay, I'm hanging it up, and then 3 or 4 years later they're like, I'm coming back.
Right.
It's like, what? Like don't do that. Like Larry King died doing interviews, and he had quit CNN like 10 years before.
Yeah.
Like, but he had to keep doing an interview show, but even though he's like 90 fucking years old, like these people have a compulsion. Right. I guess when in the case of Tom Brady, like when football's your entire life, it's your entire life, and if you don't have that, then what are you gonna do? Like go retire with your? I mean, yeah, I would retire with my hot wife and, stay on the beach all day, but I guess that's not him. I guess he's not built that way. And unfortunately for his family, it cost him because she thought he was going to come home and that this was finally it. And then he pulls the nope, just joking. I'm coming back.
Right.
So now I don't think he's gonna pull anything. I think if he wants to come back, he's gonna come back. He's not gonna put out a notice about retiring and then come back again. Now, does he go? I think the bigger question is, where does he go? Because I don't know if he's staying with the Buccaneers. I don't think he sees there's any way of winning with them going forward. Some people have mentioned, would he go to the Jets? I don't think that's smart. I think the Jets have a lot of weapons right now. They just don't have a quarterback or an offensive coordinator. So if they would pull that, it would be like when they brought in Brett Favre back in 2008. Like they would be the exact same thing. They would just be getting
what about Vegas
past his prime. I was just about to say, I think he could go to Vegas. He probably wants to be on the West Coast. Vegas could use something in terms of
with McDaniel, right? No, what's his name? What's his name? It's McDaniels.
Is it McDaniels?
Right?
Josh McDaniels?
Josh McDaniels, right? He'd be reunite with him, and then Mark Davis is a nut.
Now the thing that I will say about Tom Brady that he showed in this past year is he will not play ball with the team anymore, in the sense that he is too big. Like in the beginning of the season, we heard these stories about he was not at practice initially for he took like a week off practice to go do something, probably to try and save his marriage. To be fair, he went to was it Robert Kraft's party or something? It's like, dude, why are you going to a party when your team's supposed to be practicing for a team that you're not, for a guy on a team you're not even on anymore?
Right.
Like that doesn't make you look good. Like there is something to having the locker room on your side. And going back to the Jets, that's what fucking Zach Wilson didn't have. He didn't have the locker room to the point where they loved Mike White. And that became the whole story of the Jets this season is he would make a mistake, then Mike White would come in, he would do a lot better and the locker room would love him because he's a professional. And then Mike White would get hurt. They'd have to throw Zach Wilson back in. Then the crowd boos Zach Wilson. Then they would let's throw Joe Flacco in. They got to the point where they didn't even want to play Zach Wilson in a meaningless game with the Dolphins at the end of the season because they just didn't trust him that much. And he gave that horrific press conference mid-season. I don't know if that was picked up by more than just the New York media. But Zach Wilson did a press conference. I think it was the loss to the Patriots, where he was just the offense was terrible. He was terrible, and the defense was doing their best. And they asked him, do you feel you let the defense down? And he was like, no, I don't feel we let the defense down. We did our job and they did theirs. And it's like, no, you can't say that. That's the one thing you cannot say when you suck. You have to come out and be a man about it and be listen, we let them down. We suck today. We got to get better. They put 110% effort in. I didn't. That's on me. I got to own that, but we're going to come back next week and we're going to do. He didn't do that. And it showed a lot of immaturity. And that press conference was the turn that sort of ruined him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, man. The Jets, if they could get a quarterback, I think they'll be all right. Hey, Ilfan, we were asking, where do you think Brady's going to land?
Home. This is the first time Brady.
But football is his home. He has no family. He ruined his family.
Brady over the last month and a half, really over the whole season, was Clark Kent to past season Superman. He wasn't Brady. He wasn't able to Brady his way over the teams that he used to. We all remember that lock-in face he had on the sideline. Whatever team is down by between 6 and 3 points, and he got that look in his eye, and you're like, oh, we know what he's going to do. We watched that game. Everybody watched that game Monday night, and We never saw that face. We never saw locked in Brady face. We saw pleading with officials, pleading with his teammates. He just never
the slide tackle.
That was funny. I like that. I ain't gonna hold you. I appreciated that. You know what I'm saying? But like it wasn't the Brady, the guy that everybody expected to show up. He never turned that on. And especially in the playoffs, I mean, other than maybe like Baltimore, who consistently beat Tom Brady, like they beat Tom a lot. Playoff Tom was supposed to be one of them dudes. Right. And that we didn't see playoff Tom this week. He definitely didn't look like it. That, and I think the biggest showing of that is when he threw that. He was supposed to be throwing the ball away, and he ended up throwing an interception in the back of the end zone instead of getting 3 points. And that's when you knew, like, that's not what Brady does, especially not in the playoffs.
So you think he's just going home, that he's like, look, he looks back at the last year and he's like, this was a mistake. I can't continue doing this.
He had a bunch of just he should have, whatever network he signed to, I forget who it was.
It was
whatever network he signed to last year, he's going to go to that job this year. You know what I'm saying?
He should.
Because that show was terrible, by the way. That pregame show, Fox's pregame show is terrible.
Fox's presentation for most of their sports is not great, to be kind, very charitable about it. I like their studio shows have gotten better, Skip Bayless aside. Those, like, I like First Things First. I like Shannon Sharp. The Herd, I don't really care for Colin Cowherd, but he is what he is, and people like him. But in terms of their actual, when you're watching a sporting event, it sucks. I don't know if anyone checked out the World Cup this past month. But I don't know why they got like American football players to comment on soccer for some reason. They had people talking about soccer as if we were not even 5-year-olds. Just like, oh, well, you know, if they score the classic, if they score the most points, they're going to win this game. It's like, great. Like, this is the height of this sport's excellence, the World Cup, and you can't talk to people like they're adults that can understand a game.
Well, to be fair, though, is the way that America treats soccer is...
Well, that's exactly it, and Fox is jumping on that.
Yeah, Americans treat soccer the way that they treat everything that isn't the best thing in America. You know what I'm saying? They act like it's not that important, and kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of folks will watch it, and it's a big deal. But I mean, you had probably the most dramatic thing in sports ever.
But that's the thing. The funniest thing about the World Cup in soccer, because that's their WrestleMania. That's like the eyes that don't normally watch will watch the World Cup, and everyone watched that last game because it had a buzz about it, and people were like, and this happens every World Cup, by the way. People go, "Wow, that was actually really exciting." Yeah, I should watch more soccer. And then it's like, oh, you gonna watch the MLS? No. And then they just wait for the World Cup to come around again, and they go, wow, that was actually really exciting. I should watch more soccer. And then they don't. And then the World Cup comes around again, and it's just this big cycle. So it's like, I never want to hear from anyone again that, like, oh, soccer is a boring sport. What, just because this is my least favorite argument, because you can get a tie, or because it's a low-scoring game? I think it's a low-scoring game. The only reason football is a high-scoring game is because we allot 7 points to someone making a touchdown.
So soccer is a lot of running back and forth with very little payoff, and every goal is 1 point. Whereas though you have basketball and football, there are different ways you can the comeback, and this is not my thought. I've heard somebody told me this. I'm like, damn, that's right. It's the comeback. It's very, very hard to come back in soccer. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about American sports.
It is. The American sports are more dynamic in terms of, you're right, basketball especially. You know, there's trick plays, like dunking, there's a lot more finesse to it, 3-pointers. There's always someone who's a superstar that can do something a little razzle dazzle that can get you in. Same thing with hockey, even. Very high pay. Hockey is probably the most equivalent to soccer in America. But even that, you're on ice. It's high. It's high speed, high pace of play. Pucks going significantly faster back and forth.
It's more violent, less flopping.
It's definitely more violent.
I hate that flopping
less flopping.
shit.
The
but
flopping
you like the NBA.
I don't know. There's some flopping in the NBA, but it ain't like, oh, my toe. I don't like that.
I know,
and like and you're falling on grass.
LeBron James,
it's like, come on.
LeBron James will flop him. Somebody,
yes, Vladdy, and yes, they flop.
There's a lot of them dudes,
but they're not sitting there like, oh, I'm hurting, and all of that. I don't like that. And when LeBron did that shit where the nigga didn't even touch him and missed his face, yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Vintage LeBron.
So real quick, man, just we're talking about soccer and going back and forth. And we talk about how they don't have like that one guy that'll just like win the game. Like Maya Moore recently retired, man. Why don't we talk about Maya Moore being a GOAT? Have you ever heard that? I've never heard that. We said Serena's a GOAT.
Right, but Serena, there's a difference with individual greatness in individual sport versus the WNBA, which has unfortunately this reputation, warranted or not, that people just don't watch it. It has an equivalent sport as well to the men. I mean, obviously tennis does as well, but again, like there's an individual. Like we don't look at it that way. We do look because there's no like, the women's tennis league against the men's tennis league. Like we look at basketball that way, where it's like there's the NBA and then there's the WNBA down here. And a lot of people say that, the WNBA could be improved. And if they, in certain ways, if they did improve it, that more people would watch. I don't buy that. The only argument I would accept is I've always thought there could be more games because there's only like 37 games a season. But also, like I see, WNBA, we have to remember, is subsidized in large part, or not in large part, but it is subsidized by the NBA.
Right.
So you don't want them competing at the same time. So that's why the WNBA is more like saying a summer league is calling it to, is not giving it enough credit, but it takes place over the summer, sort of in between, the NBA seasons. And look, we've been told for years and years that the NBA is the height. It's the pinnacle. So if that's the pinnacle, some people are just like, why would I then go and watch the WNBA? And
watch college.
Which I was just about to say, but then the counter argument to that is that we watch college. So, there's something about the WNBA people don't want to watch. And unfortunately, I think the answer is, and people don't want to hear it, is that it's women. And to a lot of people out there, it's just like, they're just like, I don't want to watch women play. I want to watch men play.
What's also interesting is the women that come on our timelines quite often aren't the folks that are going to these games. Like if you go to these games, you see really hardcore sports fans, and you see like ex-players and whatnot, and those crowds aren't like rah-rah feminists and people from other sports. And
no,
those folks that are championing equal pay and are, you know what I'm saying? They
got to go watch some games.
They're not showing up for themselves either. Dudes ain't going, right? And I don't see a track record where dudes are going to branch out and be the first people to support it. But if you, as the NBA, especially like you said, if they subsidize, start throwing your NBA players, you know what I'm saying, your stars from the same city, throw them niggas at the game. You know what I'm saying? Oh, such and such is going to be a halftime, XYZ. The league doesn't even push it. It doesn't
It doesn't do as much.
It doesn't focus on that side of the business.
Right. And it's a shame because like the games are good. Like there are misconceptions. Like people go, oh well, why don't the women dunk more? It'd be way more exciting if they dunked. Which maybe I don't buy that at all. Because they're playing a different. Yeah, because they're also playing a different. They're playing more college style. It's a style of play. Like Shaq has said a couple times, like, oh well, they need to lower the rim so that they can dunk more. They don't need to lower the rim. Like they're playing old school. Like honestly, if you framed it the way I'm about to frame it to old school basketball fans, you may get some of them watching where the main difference between the NBA and the WNBA is the WNBA actually plays the old school style of basketball that you saw from like the late 60s to the 80s. They play like team basketball. That's also why the points are lower. Like people have that as a misconception when they go, "Wow, the points are much lower because there's not a lot of action going on." It's like, no, it's just there's defense. They play more defense in the WNBA.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the athleticism. Like I don't know if I want to see the rims lowered, but it's just not a lot of. It's a lot of very very basic. I think that's the point you're making, Vince. Like it's really basic. I like to see it a little bit more razzle dazzle, man. Really would. And I don't want to get too far. I do want to get into Maya Moore, yo. I do want to know what her place is as far as like, is she the best WNBA player of all time?
I don't know about the best all time, but certainly 4 championships out of 6 appearances, back-to-back national championships in college,
undefeated,
two undefeated, 2 Olympic gold medals. Even just as a human being, quitting in her prime, still having an amazing career, like despite the fact that she quit in her prime, like up to that point, she's still a Hall of Famer.
Right.
And then just as a person, quit to fight for her man who would be her husband to get his assault conviction overturned and get him out of jail. Like it's like her story is great. Like everything's there. I don't know why she doesn't get a lot more play. Like you hear about other players like Candace Parker. You hear Sue Bird just retired.
Cheryl
this
Miller,
past year.
Swoops.
Yeah, Cheryl Miller. But Maya Moore somehow, like to a lot of people, goes a little more under the radar.
Is it because she's not a overly attractive woman? She's not ugly at all, but she's not like a glammed out joint that just
She's not. I think she's not flashy. She's not someone who's necessarily like as in the spotlight as some of those other names.
Like even like with Serena, right? Like when
Serena does a lot of commercials. She's out there. She does interviews.
But men sexualize her quite often, right?
Right.
So is that, you know what I'm saying? You've heard folks, oh boy, you see Serena in that Puma cat suit, blah 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 XYZ. It allows them the excuse. Oh, you watching tennis? Yeah, it's Serena on there. And there's no, what you watching soccer? You know what I'm saying? It's just, okay, I get it, because you are able to sexualize her.
But what about Lisa Leslie and Rebecca Lobo and Cheryl Swoops and and Miller? I don't think that
they were the foundations of that league. The Nike and WNBA pumped millions of dollars into pumping those names into our heads when there were actually people pumping money into those leagues. Those were the stars. You know what I'm saying? I know Dawn Staley is one of the biggest names we hear all the time, and she's a coach now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's those names were beaten into our heads at the beginning of the league, but like for the most of the life of WNBA, there haven't been a bunch of stars that didn't have some alternative platform other than just being a really good ball player.
Well, that's true too. Like she had her height, Maya Moore, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, when Twitter was around, but it's not what it was now or what it would have become. So it's almost like she, by a hair, just missed the boat on, like, if she had won her 4 championships from like 2017 to like 2021 or whatever, I think that would have made a big difference. You would have seen more of Maya Moore. Like, there would have been more coverage, because that's the other thing too. Like, the coverage of the WNBA, even though it's not what the NBA is, like, there's certainly more of it now. Like, I follow WNBA players on Twitter and on Instagram, and it's like, you can at least like see what they're doing, check in. Like, when Chicago Sky won, you see Aja Wilson, smoking the cigar, and like that becomes a meme. Like, you see these moments now, whereas you would not have seen them, even 10 years ago in the same way.
Yeah, and in the wild place that Twitter was in that time, it would not have been pleasant. Twitter used to be a wild place.
Oh, it still is.
I would agree. It still is a wild place. Yeah. But the bedlam that was like OG Twitter, like during the time, like 10 years ago, things have changed.
Okay, all right. Well, Maya Moore, man, congrats on your retirement. Great player. We kind of got into in talking about Brady a little bit. Brady's an old motherfucker that needs to sit home. But LeBron's old ass is doing well, and Vince Carter kind of did some things at 40 and shit. And what do we think about, like, are these guys like LeBron, if he doesn't win a championship, does it soil his legacy? Like, what do we think about these two old guys?
I think
COO.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think in a general sense, it's a lot of times are different, and people take better care of their bodies now if they're an athlete. You hear stories from people who played in the league in the 80s and 90s in the NBA where it's like, in The Last Dance, Jordan was talking about when he first joined the Bulls, people, all his teammates were doing coke and smoking cigarettes, and look, he smoked cigars, but he's also Michael Jordan. Right. Like that's he's probably the exception to that. Like, I don't think most players would be caught smoking cigars like on the regular today and then going out and playing a game. But like, it was just, habits were worse back then. We look at age differently now, where if you're in your mid-30s, it's not like, oh my God, you're at the end of your career. I mean, it could be for most people in high-end sports, but especially with, conditioning, training, these people have nutritionists. Back then, okay, you're getting paid millions of dollars, but are you using that money to hire people around you to make sure that you're at your best all the time? And that wasn't always the case. Now, that kind of stuff is written into contracts. You're going to be a part of X team. Okay, well, some stuff, a lot of stuff is going to be taken care of for you. Facilities are way better now. They have, masseuses, people who take care of, just monitoring your blood flow. Like, just, every little detail of your body can be taken care of by someone, that the team has hired to take care of you.
Mm-hmm. Modern medicine,
I think that's a big difference. Modern medicine is better. Like, so when you have LeBron playing at such a high level, like, I'm not shocked. People are like, oh, well, he's got to decline in the next couple of years. He could be a Brady where, like, he could play until he's 45. Like that, like, I would not count that out.
Well, you gotta
not at that level.
Well, you gotta, but you also
not at
have
that level.
Yeah, that's true. But you gotta calculate in what I believe we have Greg Popovich to thank for, and that is, especially with the NBA, is rest. Is your expectation. If you play with Michael Jordan, you are not taking a game off. You felt okay. You know what I'm saying? There was no, I'm taking a night off to rest. There wasn't none of that. You know what I'm saying? If you was hungover, get out there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the flu game. And it's a situation where now a guy, LeBron is not. We were just talking about this. My folks are going to Houston later on this year, and the Lakers are going to be in town. And they were talking about, oh, should we go to see it? Because the last time we went to a game to see a specific star, he didn't play. The first question was, it's already a road game. Are they back-to-back nights? Because if it's a back-to-back night, LeBron's not playing. You know what I'm saying? And right. That truth in this league means that guys are going to last longer. It's less miles on it. The less miles you put on in your 20th year, the more likely you back to come for 21.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say I'm all for it, because obviously I would love to know that if I buy a ticket to a game, I'm going to get to see the stars. But it's not like they're playing no games. Like people have this idea that, oh, wow, the big stars never play. It's like, it's all strategy. If your team is doing great, you could afford to rest some people. If your team's not doing so great, maybe it's a smart idea to keep your stars in a lot longer. Or if you've got a young team, or if you've got a young team, maybe you want to work them more. You guys, slightly older team, you want to keep those guys right. So it's all strategy at this point. Like, I don't think it's this like epidemic that people make it out to be, that like just across the board, we're just resting guys, just to rest them. It's like, no, it's strategy. It's part of the regular season, which is a thing that matters. Like I've said it before, and I will say it a million times because people still don't believe it. The regular season is part of the process. People like to think that, oh, well, half the teams get in the playoffs anyway, so, why does the regular season even matter? It's a gauntlet. It's a war of attrition. You have to make it through 82 games with all of your guys intact, or as many of them as possible, all healthy and on a hot streak. Yeah. You have to make sure that you have to come through the other side in the best position possible, and not every team is going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really true with the league. Is like you just have to, you gotta, like, everything is about that bread now. You know what I mean? We can extend this, we can get more out of. Everybody's trying to get more out of everything, and that being the case, I think you might have that one game where a kid is disappointed, but if you can get another year out of a guy for rest when you guys go to Minnesota, they're gonna save that money. They're gonna save his body to get that money for another year.
Oh, it's like Lamar Jackson in the NFL. Like, his contract just came up, and people are like, "Well, he should have played in that game." It's like, them. Yeah, exactly. Like, how dare you? Like, I forget who, but who was it? RG3 who was talking about it, and he was
don't put the brace on enough, because remember RG3's leg went sideways.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I did it, so he should do it too."
No, RG was caping for him. Yeah, RG.
He was okay. Who was the one? There was someone who was
Mike Vick was saying, just put a brace on it.
Yeah, fuck Michael Vick. He this idea, how dare he like reach into this guy's pocket and be like, "Oh, well, he's just doing it for the money. He should arrest it." Like, listen, if he goes out there and he breaks his leg again because it wasn't fully healed, that's it. There is no contract at that point.
Right.
So it's like you're, for one game, this guy could possibly be missing out on tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, I wouldn't play that game either. I'm sorry.
Right. And here's the thing. He could really be hurt. This guy went out there and played knowing that he didn't have a long-term contract, knowing what the risks were. He probably really is hurt. You know what I mean? Me being here in the city, and I follow him on Twitter and things like that, I don't see that as his personality to leave it, especially in the playoffs. He would want to come back and be the star. If you could say, if Bishotti said that bullshit, well, he hasn't won the Super Bowl yet. Why wouldn't he come back and play and try to get them to the Super Bowl in order to solidify his value?
What player? Here's the question: what player doesn't want to get to the Super Bowl? That's one of those things where it's like,
right.
where it's like, shut the fuck up. Not you, but like to these people who are saying like, oh well, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want it. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, who doesn't want to go to the suit? Like, oh well, he doesn't really want it like that. It's like, well, why is he in this league then? Because he knows, like, everyone knows if you don't play hard, you're not going to get the contract and you're not going to get the money. So, like, of course he wants to play hard. Because people who don't want to play hard, they're going to get found out real quick and they're not going to be in this league.
Exactly. Let me ask you this, Vin. Do you think Lamar Jackson is a Raven next year? And what do you think his contract is?
I don't think he's a Raven because I think that there's enough. It seems like there's enough bad blood between him and the rest of the team that he would be better suited to just go somewhere else. I don't know where that somewhere else is, but I'm sure it'll be somewhere that's going to give him a lot of money. I think whoever signs him should sign him to, I would say a 2-year contract is fair. I don't know for how much. He's obviously going to want to get the most money possible, but I don't know if you give him like a super long-term contract because he is injury prone at this point. And that's another thing that happens a lot in sports now, and maybe not so much in football, but I've noticed it a lot in baseball, where you see a situation of Carlos Correa right now, where he was going to sign with the Giants, and then they looked at his medical and were like, well, now we're not going to sign you for this much money. And for this many, for you think what, like 9 years or 10 years or something. Then the Mets try and get him. And the Mets like, yeah, we'll take him. Steve Cohen, even with all his billions of dollars, they couldn't come to an agreement. Because they looked at his medical and were like, we don't think you're good for, 11 years or, 9 years. And now he's, back with the Twins because the Twins are like, well, fuck it, we'll take him. So 2 things can be true at once. One, there's always a buyer. There's usually always someone who's willing to shell out the money. Some sad sack organization who needs something going on to get eyeballs on their product. And also, I think long-term contracts are, I'm not going to say they're going away, but it's not in vogue right now. Right. I think a lot of people are looking at the dollars and cents and being like, it does not behoove us to sign anyone for these elaborate, like 9-10 year deals. And football, obviously, it's a little shorter. But I think he gets probably like a 2-3 year contract and sort of takes it from there.
Let me give you a little bit more background, and you might change your answer. They can franchise him, and they probably will. So if he can't come up with a long-term deal with Baltimore, then they'll have to trade him, right? And as if they put the exclusive franchise on, they have to trade him. Or they could put the one where it's non-exclusive, and then you have to match, right? But it's better for the Ravens to exclusively franchise him and trade him for $1 million with draft number ones, right? And so I think that if you're going to trade for Lamar Jackson, if you're going to give up maybe 3 or 4 drafts worth of people, I think you have to be willing to sign him long term. There's no way that I trade if I'm if I'm the Jets or if I'm Miami, I trade away all my drafts for 3-4 years to come if I'm not guaranteed that I can sign him. So I think he will sign a 5-year deal. I think the most guaranteed money right now is Russell Wilson. I think that maybe he doesn't get 250 guaranteed, but I think you're looking at 4 or 5 years, 200, 220 guaranteed.
I could see it. I think the logical move is 2-3 years, but I think someone is going to come along to give him 4 or 5 years. Just because the player that he is, okay, yeah, injury prone, whatever. There's gonna be some team who's in it right now, who's like, we need him right now. If the back end of this contract doesn't work out, so be it. Again, that's how a lot of sports contracts work as well. Is that you don't really think about the last couple of years. You're thinking about, well, I need this guy right now because we're built to win. And there's a lot of teams that, at least in their own minds, think that they're built to win right now who could use a Lamar Jackson.
I had this. You keep saying injury prone. I don't know if I'm just defending my quarterback. He's been injured 2 years in a row. I don't know if we're going to call that prone.
2 years in a row, I think, is injury prone at this point.
Yeah, there's other guys that you wouldn't say injury prone has been injured twice in a year. Roger.
Well, it depends on how long they've been out, though.
Yeah, right. I think that's. I think it might be being a homer on that one, but I'll wait and see what happens next year before I call him prone.
All right, well, we'll see. If he gets injured the third year in a row, we can put the prone tag on him.
Hey, Vin. So you are, and I know Ilfam's not here, but maybe he'll jump in and maybe.
Yeah, where'd he go?
He's cooking steaks. You're one of the
right. He is cooking. What is he cooking steaks for?
Right? Not us, the fucker.
Yeah.
Look, man, you're one of the more colorful people that I know in this podcast network of ours, this thing of ours. And so I was thinking, like, what would fit that as far as a shooting the five, hashtag SC5, hashtag shoot the five at Where's Buffy on everything. So this week, shoot the five, man, we're going to do top 5 colorful sports personalities. These could be athletes, commentators, owners, because I know some people like the owners. The owners are stars some of these places. So yeah, top 5 most colorful sports personalities. Who wants to start?
I'll set it off.
Sure.
Number 5, Jerry Jones.
I hate that.
Oh man. Number 4, Avery Johnson. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all remember Avery Johnson from the Spurs. I had to play basketball. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Listen, hearing him talk was one of my favorite things ever. Number 3, I'm gonna go Dennis Rodman.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, self-explanatory, and he played for one of my squads. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Worm, one of the greatest rebounders of all time. He dabbles in a great deal of coonery. However, number 2, Chuck, the bread truck, Charles Barkley. Come on, basketball. Kobe Bryant. Everybody. Listen.
Big mound to rebound.
On TV, on that goddamn TNT, every single week, he's the one. Shaq is good. He's a great compliment. Ernie is a great. That show ain't good without Buck. I ain't gonna hold you.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, come on, man. Every single week, when the playmaker comes on your television screen, whether you love him or you hate him, when Michael Irvin come on that goddamn screen,
cocaine don't make you colorful.
Yes, it do.
It just makes you hot.
You seen them suits he used to wear when he was going to court?
Yeah.
And they had a fur coat on and a mustard yellow, the same color as this goddamn Scully. In Dallas, high as 3 people.
My CTE acting up.
Yo. Mike is amazing on everything I've seen him on. Like everything he's done. Like he was the leader of those 90s Cowboy teams. You know what I mean? The spiritual leader of those locker rooms. Like he was the leader. Troy wasn't talking. Emmett wasn't talking. Emmett was a little DEC. Anyway, it was Mike in them huddles. You know what I'm saying? When he was on NFL Network, it was Mike. Only person that holds their own consistently on ESPN right now is my man Mike. When him, the Ric Flair entrance,
the only person.
Yeah, ain't nobody.
You're putting a lot on it, fan. Brother.
Hey, Mike, my favorite athlete, son.
You laying it on a little thick there, fella.
Hey,
I don't know.
My opinion is my opinion, baby. You know what I'm saying? Mike is the guy.
Let's not go too far.
Mike is the guy.
Then you got it.
Yeah. This is not in any particular order, but I've got my 5. Charles Barkley obviously had to be on there. Like you said, Charles, he's as authentic as it gets. Like he's not going to be any other version of himself than the one that you see on TV. And that accounts for a lot. And that's 100% of the reason why he gets paid the big money. People can say whatever they want about him. At the end of the day, look, he seems like a nice guy. He's got a lot of weirdness to him that he just lets shine through. Like like the moments he creates, whether it's the infamous like steam room thing where they're like, oh, where'd you get that bracelet? He's like, I got it in a steam room. And everyone's like, whoa, what? You got it from a guy in a steam room? Or the revelation that he keeps chapstick in his belly button. He'll just be weird. He's a weird guy. He'll throw people through a pane of glass, although that was, I guess, 20 plus years ago.
Still happening.
And he works great with Shaq. Adding Shaq to that show again. Shaq is great, but you don't get like he brings out Shaq. Like he brings out the best in Shaq. They're like the best like little brother, big brother tandem in sports entertainment today.
Yeah.
I'm also going to put Kevin Harlan on that list. I think as far as actual like play-by-play commentators, he's up there. He always brings it with the energy, the colorful, not catchphrases, but just like his turns of phrase.
No regard.
You could look up
life.
Yeah. I think he's better than Marv Albert. People hype up Marv Albert. I get that he's a legend.
Yes.
To me, Kevin. Yeah. To me, yeah. But to me, like, okay, he's got the yes. But like Kevin Harlan, like, does more than just go yes. Like he actually, yeah, he'll be like, oh, LeBron James just sucked the air out of the arena. Like he'll get into it. Hey, I see. And then, sort of in that same vein, I will put, and this is a local commentator, but Eric Collins, who, if you don't recognize the name, he is the play-by-play for the Charlotte Hornets. And he is the guy, if you've never looked up clips of him, you should look up clips of him calling Charlotte Hornets games. Because he might as well be having an orgasm every single time.
Yeah.
Anyone on the Hornets does anything. I don't know, fam, are you able to look up and like clip or no, we probably get demonetized.
Yeah, no, they gonna come for our break.
But go look up clips of him. He literally, what was the famous one where Terry Rozier like makes a dunk and he's like, Terry Rozier, how do you do? Oh my God, fiddle-dee-dee. And he's yelling like fiddle-dee-dee, and he's like, man, we gotta take a commercial break. Like that was so exciting. Like he is so over the top. And he's a meme because of it. And you gotta look up if you're listening to this and you've never seen clips of Eric Collins, go look up. And he does play-by-play with fucking Del Curry. So that's where you may know him from. Moving away from commentators and back to personalities, Chris Mad Dog Russo, who people on the national level have gotten to know him over the past couple of years on ESPN. I don't like a lot of his takes, to be fair.
Damn that motherfucker.
But there's no question that he is a colorful personality. Mm-hmm. And if you're in the New York area, you heard him for 20 years as part of Mike and the Mad Dog. Mm-hmm. And they used to call that duo Fatso and Fruit Loops. So he is certainly because like the way he acts when you see him on First Take, picture that like, but even younger and dialed up to 11 every day, like in the afternoon, bouncing off of like this boorish, like big guy just talking monotone about sport. Like there's a dynamic there that works, and he's carried that over the years. And the fact that he sticks to his guns, I appreciate, even though I do not like any of his takes. The whole like, oh, well, you got to include, the guys from the 50s and say like, no, you don't have to include every Tom, Dick, and Harry who played against a plumber. Like you can talk about like some new school people. And then the last person I have on my list, more for them as a personality, but they are an active football player, is Russell Wilson. And yeah, because I think he's in on his own act. There's no way he's not. There is no fucking way he is not in on his own act. if he came out like in an interview 10 years from now and it's like, yeah, I was just playing this weird guy. I kind of know my perception of I know what people are saying about me. I play that up. I would not be shocked at all. Like that Subway, you saw that Subway ad he did, right? For his Danger Witch sandwich.
No.
Mm-mm.
Have you seen that? Oh my God.
No, that might be, you think that's a local thing?
No, this was something. No,
I've never
this was
seen it
something.
here.
No, so there's a reason you haven't seen it because Subway debuted this thing over the summer called like the Subway Vault, where it's their excuse for you to like they want you to get the app and order stuff through their app. So they put like signature sandwiches now exclusively on the app, and it's called like the Subway Vault, and like Barkley's got a sandwich, who else has a sandwich? There's like a couple of it's like other sports people have sandwiches. I think like Steph Curry had a sandwich. Like RG3 has a sandwich. Marshawn Lynch has like the beef beef mode was his sandwich. So it's like these cutesy like sandwiches that they're like plays on like their signature catchphrases or whatever. But Russell Wilson had one called the Danger Witch, and he did a commercial for it where he's just kind of like eating a sandwich and staring at the camera and talking about how his sandwich is dangerous. And he's like, "Oh, you ever do anything dangerous?" And he's like pausing to like listen to your response. He's like, "Ooh, it's too dangerous." It's like, I did. Nah, I better not tell you. It's too dangerous. And he's like really sort of like he's kind of got like good comedic chops. And I'm like, there's no way he's not in on this. There's no way. There's a point where he's like, it's a delicious sandwich, but be careful. It's spicy. And someone in the comments pointed out there's nothing spicy in this sandwich. So I'm just like, this guy is playing like he knows exactly what he did. The whole like, was it when he did that video where he was like, people call him Mr. Unlimited, and he was like talking about how people call him Mr. Unlimited. Like it's so dumb. He's got to be in on it. I am convinced he's got to be in on his own act.
Okay.
He's so weird. The whole like when he did that promo for the Broncos, it was like, "Let's ride." And he kept doing the "Let's ride" thing over and over again. Like all of this weird shit that he does. When you hear about him doing fucking jumping jacks and squats on the plane, he's got to be in on it. There's no.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I hope he's not, because it has disenfranchising from his team, and if you want to win, you can't. Like as you said before, you got to have the team behind you, man.
Yeah. Oh, he certainly does not have the team behind him, right?
He does not. I'll get into my 5 real quick, man. No particular order, man. We were talking about George Michael's Sports Machine earlier. One of the guys that I was introduced from that is a guy named Pete Weber, PBA bowler, has gone viral on several occasions.
Is he the guy that's like, "Who do you think I am? I am."
Yes, I am. That motherfucker. He's off the hook. Pete Weber. He said one thing about it: you tuned in, you watched me. Like you're a bowler, sir.
Hey, people forget like bowling used to be like a Saturday afternoon treat.
Yes.
Like cartoons would end, and then it would be like bowling on ABC for 4 hours.
Dude, that was the shit. I'm not even gonna hold you. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, man.
Yeah.
Goes without saying, man. We all had Dennis Rodman on our list, blah, blah, blah. Kevin Garnett will tell you he fucked your wife.
It tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Honey Nut Cheerios, yo. Tell some of the best stories I've ever heard. Kevin Garnett and Lenny Randle, a name that not a lot of people know. You might know him because I think he was a Met. Lenny Randle, a ball was going to go foul. He's the guy on the picture that you see trying to blow the ball foul. He played professionally in Italy. He knows several languages. Look up Lenny. Anybody listening? Look up Lenny Randle. They actually did a mini doc on him. He is a very, very interesting guy. Matter of fact, there was a New York blackout. He was the guy at bat at the time that the blackout happened. And he's like, his quote is, "Am I dead? Oh, is it over? So yeah, man, Lenny Randall, look him up. He also like spun kick a motherfucker. But that is my list, man. Make sure y'all going to Where's Buffy on everything, on Instagram or Twitter. Make sure you're hashtagging ST5 or Shoot the 5 and give us your top 5 most colorful sports personalities.
Hey yo, when I was out, did I miss? Because there's one person I wanted to say, but I forgot to say him. Shannon Crowder.
Wow.
He's amazing.
Nah.
He is amazing. He's one of my favorite folks. He makes that show for me too. Because I like Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark is amazing.
That looks good.
And shout out because him and Stephen A. Smith had that thing, and he said, "You think you could do what I do?" Yeah, very well, nigga. Very well.
Yes.
Yeah. I think.
So if there's an honorable mention, I would put Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
He kind of set the blueprint for a lot of athletes. Like now, like obviously athletes got into sports commentating and being on studio shows before him. But I think to the modern athlete, a lot of them look to him.
The really cool part about
like a pipeline.
The really cool part about Jalen is Jalen has a very distinct and strong accent from Detroit or wherever he is. He's from out in
Detroit,
Michigan.
Yeah.
It's a very, very distinct accent, and he doesn't feel the need to switch up or change up. He speaks the way he's always spoken. Now it's clear, concise, and we understand it, but he doesn't hey, how you doing? Like he doesn't give you any of that. So shout out to Jalen for, you know what I mean, remaining who he is, and still kind of providing a wealth of knowledge and entertainment for folks that watch. His
and he's not afraid. And he's not afraid to get into it with people. Like there was that. I mean, it's 10 years old at this point, but when he famously he called Skip Bayless Water Pistol Pete because he dug up info on you actually did play basketball and you sucked, like you averaged 1 point or something, and that got Skip hot, and it was like you got to have talk about a guy that's got thin skin,
right?
No, Skip, not.
Shannon, how fast does Shannon Sharp jump into ESPN?
Hey, listen, when we get that goddamn Sterling Brothers show, when you know what I mean, him and Sterling, Sharp Brothers show, him and Sterling come back, it's gonna be crazy. Watch.
He left Fox Sports?
No,
but he might as well have one foot at the door right now.
It does feel that way. We shall see. But I think we're gonna see him and Sterling get a show together, and that would be amazing.
That would be
give me that instead of the Manning cast.
Skip.
Yo,
when he get real mad, that nigga voice go, Skip. Why would you? We didn't even play. Why would you do that?
Well, he got for real mad. Was it last week or the week before when he was trying to give the reason for why he wasn't in the day before after the Darvin Ham situation?
What's funny is I said we sat and watched that, and I think he got madder with the Tom Brady stuff. I think he was already checked out. He was, you're not gonna I can't talk. Can I talk? Nah. When that nigga was like, I'm out,
right,
he had turned it off. It was like,
right, he didn't give because if he hadn't gotten angry about the Tom Brady stuff, he probably would have let Skip continue and it'd give him the benefit of the doubt. But the Tom Brady stuff was like, that's a line. That's that's a real petty line to have crossed. Where it's like,
and
you.
This is the one thing. The one thing, and I don't know if you picked this up, Ben. I know all the black folks I know that saw that moment picked the same thing up. When Skip told him to put his glasses back on.
Yes.
It felt like he self-edited.
Yes. When he's I thought I felt something there, and then I saw on Twitter a lot of people were picking that up because he was like, "You put your glasses back on." Like, I don't know if he wanted to say something. People who are close to him apparently say like he's actually one of those situations where like, oh, he's a really nice guy off the air or whatever. But with that said, it felt like he was talking down to a guy in a way he should not, talking down to a black guy in a way that he should not have been talking down to him. He might as well have called him boy.
Fair enough. That's what it felt like. But yeah, man, I think that is what we have this week.
Yeah.
Brother,
so now we're going to talk about DC Comics, right? We're going
to. That's another week. You got to come on when on Cal's puts the show together. But yeah, we'll definitely. Yeah. I wouldn't mind cutting on comics.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to everybody, you know what I mean, rocking with us. You know what I'm saying? Happy Friday to you if you're watching us live on the BRP feed. If not, happy Tuesday to you as we rock on Where's Buffy Proper. That being the case, I am IlFam790, your social media choice, aka the as of the podcast, and aka Captain Bro Albano, Brew Diamond Phillips, Sticky the Dragon Steamboat, Pod Champ Pod, God's favorite podcast, the Potty Pipe, I'm in the podcast, Chew Bubblegum, and I'm all out of Denti. Nice to see your love daddy at WFAM, where family always matters, and that's the Double Truth Ruth and my tag team partner.
Before I get into myself, and I love getting into myself, where's Buffy.com, where's Buffy.com, where's Buffy.com, at Where's Buffy on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you use the hashtags ST5 Shoot the 5, hashtag Buff for Comfort, hashtag Not for Speed. I am Fatboy Diz, Fatboy_Diz, Dizzy from Be More. Smoking and drinking on IG as well. This is joint on the most finger wave. This is not the joint on his penis trying to cock ram if the glove don't fit. I will not hit. I'm not a normal nigga. I smoke cigars and I use rubbers, and I wish I was the senior or something. I don't know. I gotta make up another AKA somewhere along the line. And our special guest.
He's home now.
I am looking up hashtag Built for Comfort on Twitter right now.
Oh, somebody somebody stole.
Oh, you come up for a tweet from 2019 wishing happy birthday to fam.
That's
there
how
we go. And then and then the very next tweet is I'm not gonna put this up to the camera. I'm gonna send you. But it's a bear, a big man showing off his body.
Oh, as a big man with a body. Then where can we find you on the socials, man?
Follow me on Twitter at MightyVin. I also do two other podcasts, Wrassle Rap and Oddball. You can check out Wrassle Rap at Wrassle Rap on Twitter, at Oddball Podcast. Also on Twitter, follow me on Instagram at VinForteNYC. And take what you need. Discard what you don't. No, I'm not gonna get into that.
You ain't nothing but a speck of dust. You ain't nothing but a speck of dust on a cokehead's fingernail.
I wish
we don't talk. We do what we do.
All right, man. Peace.
Oh,
this is.
I was like, what the fuck just happened?